To order. And somebody turn on the recording. And we have Olivia present. We have Larry. We have Olivia Madrigal present, Larry Valabi present, Javier Gonzalez present, and Michael Jones present for a quorum. Yay. And I don't see any guests, so we'll dispense with that. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Larry.
Second. Second.
Okay, Michael votes yes. How do you vote, Olivia?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Javier?
Yes.
Okay. And there's no public to comment, so I'm going to dispense with that. And let's move into closed session. Or do we need to go to close? I guess we do because somebody might come in, right?
That is correct.
All right. So let's go to closed session.
All right. I'll stand by.
Thank you.
We're
Hi,
back.
Daniel.
Hey.
You're getting pretty good at this.
Yeah, it seems so.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to report out from the closed session. The board approved the suspended enforcement of the stipulated expulsion order regarding the confidential student discipline matter order number 03022022. The board voted unanimously. In the second case, the board also approved the suspended enforcement of the stipulated expulsion order regarding confidential student discipline matter order number 03162022. And in that case, the board also voted unanimously. That concludes the report from closed session. On to consent agenda. Does anybody want to discuss anything that is on the consent agenda? Pull it out. Hearing nothing, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
Thank you, Larry.
I'll second.
Thank you, Javier. And Olivia, how do you vote?
Oops,
Can you repeat
aye.
yourself? Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about
Larry,
that.
how do you vote?
Aye.
Javier?
Aye.
Michael votes aye as well, passes 4-0. That takes care of the consent agenda. On to action items. First thing is the employee handbook. Josh?
Thank you. So this is the 2022-23 employee handbook. SABA sent out offer letters the second week of March to all of our teachers and counselors. And offer letters reference the employee handbook. So I wanted to get this approved ahead of next school year. So we have this ready to go. Should there be any questions about their work agreements?
Any questions for Josh regarding the staff or the employee handbook?
Any changes from the previous handbook?
No, most of it was a carryover from previous year. We looked at the 10 days that the teachers receive. We kept that the same, 10 sick days, 5 of which are personal necessity. That remained the same. The major change was, one major change was the work day was updated to reflect our new bell schedule. And that was basically it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the 2022-23 employee handbook?
So moved.
Thank you, Larry.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Olivia. Olivia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Javier,
Aye.
Michael votes aye as well, passes 4-0. On to the Saba School Safety Plan.
So SABA is required to submit a safety plan to the County Office of Education annually. And this is us following up with that responsibility. A lot of this, much like the employee handbook, is a carryover from the previous year. Just so you know, SABA conducts quarterly drills for evacuation, lockdown, shelter in place for our quote big five every year, including this year. And I feel confident with our safety plans. Our Director of Human Resources also sends out a daily morning email that has the crisis team in it. We all carry on radios to make sure that we can follow up should there be any state safety concerns. And I think my biggest takeaway from completing this process was that we do this kind of on the timeline of the county, but I really want to approve next year's 22-23 plan in July or early August, so we have it set for that year right at the start of the school year. And instead of just waiting until February, March to review this.
Any questions for Josh regarding the safety plan? Okay, motion to approve.
I'll move.
Thanks, Javier. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Larry. Olivia, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Larry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Javier?
Aye.
Michael votes aye as well, passes 4-0. On to the 2-year business services renewal agreement.
So our back office financial services provider is Delta Managed Solutions, or DMS. And they have provided an offer to us that we can accept for a 2-year additional agreement beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2024. The agreement is $11,900 per month or $142,800 per year. And we've been working with DMS for a while. I feel comfortable with them. They come to the board meetings regularly. We have week or twice a month meetings with them to go over our finances and make sure we're complying with all the one-time funding and other state requirements. And I would like to continue working with them in this format.
Yeah, on top of that, I'd just like to add that we're already working, me and Paul from DMS are already working weekly to get in front of our next year's budget. So that's been good to have continuous meetings to get momentum on that front.
And how much did the cost of their services go up this year?
5%.
Alrighty, any other questions for Josh? Motion to approve.
I'll move,
I had a motion.
or I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Olivia. Thank you, Javier. Olivia motioned and Javier seconded. Olivia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Larry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Javier?
Aye.
And Michael votes aye as well, passes 4-0.
I'm sorry, who motioned and seconded?
Olivia motioned and Javier seconded.
Thank you both.
On to board resolution to approve issuance of bonds.
We skipped one resolution, I believe.
The Harvey Milk Day.
Yes.
That's good. Do you want to explain that?
Yes, so the week of May 2nd through 6th is a celebration of our LGBTQ community. And each May 22nd in California, per California Ed Code 37222, is proclaimed as Harvey Milk Day that celebrates our LGBT community. This year, we're going to participate in a flag raising event with schools across the county. The flag is the LGBTQ flag, and we look forward to doing this. We have a GSA, or Gay Straight Alliance Club, that's active, and I know they'll be involved with setting up additional activities that week, and I look forward to collaboratively working with them to make sure that we have an inclusive space for all of our students.
Great. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll go ahead with the motion.
Thank you, Olivia. Olivia motions, and who seconds?
I second. Oh,
Javier seconds. Olivia, your vote?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Oh, there's Javier. Javier
aye.
and Michael. Votes aye as well. Passes 4-0. And now we get to approval of board resolution of the issuance of bonds. Is this going to be affected by what happened last night?
Possibly. We still need to approve this resolution. This resolution is going to be taken to the California School Finance Authority in late April for the official approval of our bond offering. Basically, this resolution is asking the SABA Board of Directors to approve SABA to finance and refinance the cost of acquisition improvement for our charter school. So basically, SABA Public Schools, our general budget will finance a lot of these acquisition costs that will in turn be repaid back once the bonds are offered to the potential or the eventual purchasers. And then it also authorizes SABA to pay certain expenses incurred in connection with the issuance of these Series 2022 bonds. And then finally, it also says that we can fund a debt service reserve fund with capitalized interests and a repair and replacement fund in connection with the bonds. In a nutshell, SABA is incurring probably somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 in expenses over the course of this year to prepare for this bond offering. And SABA is going to pay for that, and that will be financed by the eventual sale of these bonds. Many of these expenses are only going to be incurred if the final transaction goes through. So if, for example, the underwriting costs, the associated legal costs with that, and for some reason the transaction does not come to fruition, we will not be required to pay those associated expenses.
And what is the, is it contingent also on the city council approving the zoning change?
Very much so. So today I met with Elizabeth Sanborn, our real estate agent, who reached out to the community development director for the city of Watsonville. And we talked about some strategies to follow up on what happened last night. Just in case you didn't read it, the City Watsonville Planning Commission, while they voted 3-2 in approval of our zoning change, there are actually 7 commissioners and we needed 4 to get the quorum. And so they will be recommending that we not have our zoning changed. So as it stands now, the city council would receive that recommendation. They're not obligated to follow it, but it's not a good thing that they're going to be sending that recommendation. So we are talking about potential strategies, including maybe going back to the Planning Commission with some additional plans and updates to see if we could have this issue looked at once again. As this is a property negotiation, are part of that. To talk about the more specific details, I'd rather discuss that in a closed session meeting, which we can definitely do later this month.
Alrighty, I noticed that Olivia has fled the scene, so we no longer have a quorum.
That's right.
You're on mute, Larry.
Yeah, what action do we need to do with this resolution?
We were supposed to approve the resolution, but if we end up having a meeting in mid-April to talk about the planning commission and the city council meeting, maybe we could have a short open session after that to approve this resolution. I think that's what we'll have to do.
Okay,
Darn. Sounds like a pretty grueling session last night at the city council. This all came about because of 2 neighbors complaining?
6 neighbors sent. So basically, I received notice about 2:30 in the afternoon yesterday that there were some complaints submitted to the city staff who were going to make the presentation on behalf of SABA of why we should receive the rezoning. And the complaints were varied, but basically came down to parking and traffic being continual nuisances, as well as students occasionally loitering, throwing trash in yards, and sometimes having like public displays of affection in front of younger kids who live at the house. No. And then 2 of the people who wrote these letters came to the board meeting last night and just expressed their displeasure with the traffic at the arrival and dismissal of students at the start and the end of the school day, and how that affects traffic on Locust Street, and how it can be a challenge to get in and out of homes along Locust Street during those 2 times.
And was the city council aware of the fact that if this zoning change doesn't get approved, that will essentially mean the end of SABA occupying that spot?
To be clear, no, and we were not in front of the city council last night. We were in front of the planning commission. So I think the
That's
decision
right.
before us right now is whether we just proceed on to the city council, even though we have this, or if we go back to the planning commission with some updated ideas about what we could do to mitigate the concerns.
do you have any sense of what that 4th vote would be? The person who is not there to vote, any idea?
No, but I think I could reach out to maybe try and figure it out.
Seems like that would be good information to have before you strategize what the next step is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I reached out to her, and she was. It was just via text because she was working. But I'll talk to her regarding this. I'll also reach out a couple people from the city council when I saw Josh's email, and I had a little long conversation with Daniel too about it. So there's a couple things that we can do. First of all, I think it's I don't think the planning commission understand how big of a deal it is for a lot of students and for parents. I think also that we need to get parents involved, because if it's only 4 neighbors that just showed up, and based on what the 4 neighbors said, there's 2 other people or 3 people or whoever voted no to approve this, went by. I think we're gonna need more support from the parents to show up to the meeting next time.
To be clear, we had about 35 people from SABA at the meeting last night, and had 2
Okay.
students and alumni and 2 parents speak. We talked about having like just everybody coming up, and I was advised that becomes too repetitive, and to not do that, just to give some diverse perspectives on SABA and leave it at that. But I do agree with you. It's unfortunate about a few of the disgruntled neighbors, and I think we need to come up with a strategy to take a look at their concerns, see what we can do to mitigate it, and move forward.
And did one person speak for the group, or did each of them go up to the stand?
There was two separate speakers who spoke in opposition, and I believe they both live along Locust or somewhere in, within a block or two distance. And it really came down to traffic and parking, along with individual behaviors. And so, and that is also called out in the complaints that were submitted to the Planning Commission.
All right, good to see you back, Olivia.
Sorry about that. It just wasn't charged, I guess. It felt like it took me a half hour to get it back up, so.
You're here. So do you have any questions about the approval of the board resolution?
No.
Did you get a chance to read Josh's description of what happened at the Planning Commission last night?
Yes, I skimmed through it.
Great.
Last week.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll move.
Javier moves.
Yeah, I'll
Moves.
second.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Larry. Olivia, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Larry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Javier, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Michael votes aye as well. That passes 4-0. Okay, one more thing for voting. Clarification of board member terms, resolution, start and end dates.
Okay, basically this document goes over the start and end dates for each of the board of directors. The term began for Michael Jones on August 7th, 2018, and ends on August 17th, 2024. Basically, if you didn't come off the board at the end of your term, this is confirming another 3 years. We can always have board members come off through written notice to myself, Daniel, or to Michael. But basically, this is just confirming the board's commitment to SEBA over the following terms that are listed in this document. And you know what? Let me give me 1 second here. Something happened. The terms are listed in that bond document, but I had a separate document here. I'm not sure what happened. Give me 1 moment.
Was that included in, maybe I skipped through that one.
No, it's something I was uploading the board resolution that I got today, but 1 second. Here it is. Of course, my internet decides to go slow right now. Okay. Take a look now at that document, and it's a simple 1-pager that goes over the term of the boards. It should be in, if you're on the board docs. It should be
Not.
okay. All right, I'm going to just read it out loud just so it's super clear here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Whereas the amended and restated bylaws updated by SEBA board bylaws updated September 7, 2021, state board members shall serve terms of 3 years. Now therefore be resolved that SEBA board of directors will serve SEBA public schools during the start and end dates listed below. Michael Jones, chairperson, start date August 17, 2018, end date August 17, 2024. Mary Novice, same start date and end date August 17, 2018 to August 17, 2024. So it'll be 2 3-year terms. Olivia Madrigal began October 30th, 2018, we have your end date as being October 30th, 2024, because your first term ended October 30th, 2021. Larry, you're in your first term. You began June 2nd, 2020, and your term will end to June 2nd, 2023. And then Gershom began July 7th, 2020. He'll end July 7th, 2023. And then finally, Javier began November 2nd, 2021, and your term will end on November 2nd, 2024. So this is basically confirming that all of our board members are on 3-year terms. The reason we needed this is the bond underwriters want to know who is on our board, when they started, and when their end date, when their anticipated end dates are.
Any comments or clarifications? Okay, do we have a motion to approve this term resolution?
So moved.
Larry, and second was
I'll second.
Javier seconded. And Olivia, how do you vote?
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
Javier,
Aye.
Michael votes aye as well, passes 4-0. And that takes us to reports and probably springs Olivia loose to go and what is it going to be, a margarita out there and the umbrella on the beach?
Yes. I hope that's tomorrow.
Ah,
All right.
that sounds
Thank
pretty
you
good.
all.
Hey, Olivia,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for being here. It really makes a difference. These are really important things for us at SEBA.
You're welcome. And I'll go ahead and get that signature on Wednesday, and I'll send it off.
Excellent. And if I could ask one more thing of you, maybe when you get back, but I need that Form 700 also.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I had sent that. Okay, that's fine. I will do that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, on the reports.
All right, let me share my screen here. Actually, excuse me, no, it is the DMS monthly financial update through February 2022. I don't see Paul on here.
No, it's okay.
You want me to share my screen, Daniel?
If you don't mind, we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. This is just a monthly update through February 28th. We're still on track with our budget as presented last month for the second interim budget. On a cash perspective, we are still holding. We ended with cash well above our operating cash reserve that we established last month, and progress with that. We will be approaching the county to see if we can use the county treasury as a place to store our cash reserve. So if that were the case, we'd have our regular Santa Cruz County bank account for all of our operations. And then if we were to dip into that 1.8 or so million that we established as a cash reserve, we would have to go through the county and obviously update the board on that. But that's progress on that policy. We are looking good on a cash and budget perspective right now. Right there, the actuals negative 313. We're still trying to catch up on revenues, but a lot of that has to do with SB 740 and LCFF revenues.
Thank you, Daniel. I think one thing I always like to look at here on these budgets is just our cash flows, which is highlighted here, and we can see our days of cash on hand are.
We ended at 169, 3.36 million.
And as our revenues catch up with our expenditures, we actually only go up from here through March, April, May, and June, which is great.
Yay.
Yes. Okay. Any questions about our February Delta monthly update?
Still looking good.
Excellent. Okay. Should I go on to the head of school report, Michael?
Yes, please.
Got it. Okay, so I was actually going to present this at the March meeting, but we had the staff presentation that went a little bit longer than anticipated. But basically, I'm going to give a Sable org goals update, go over our governance metrics, and then talk about staff morale and school culture in response to what we heard last month. So just to review, we created these org goals or updated our org goals at the retreat that we held in August. I'm going to go over governance. I would have gone over it in March, but I'm going to go over it today. We went over finances in February, facilities in September, HR in December, academic program in January, school culture in October. Oh, excuse me. What's going on here? And then organizational leadership in the dashboard. It's just organizational leadership is a cumulative measure of all of these 6 different areas. And then the dashboard is set to be released in August of 2022. So we won't be able to look at those until later this year. So governance, we came up with the following metrics. 80% of board members attendance at SABA board meetings. This was through February. We also had quorum in March and this month, 4 out of 6 each time. So let's see, we continue to meet that goal. So that's why it's green. We also had 100% of meetings with quorum. So this meetings with quorum, obviously March 1st was also with quorum. So it's great to see. We have not had a board meeting yet where we did not meet quorum. I really appreciate your communication when I reach out to you. And I appreciate how everyone's able to kind of work with me in your schedules to come up with times and dates that work. Completing annual training. We did this at the board retreat, and I will take ownership of this. I didn't do a follow-up training for the board members who were not at that meeting. So we did not meet that goal of having all of our board members complete an annual training. I know we can do that next year. 80% of board members involved with WASC accreditation. I had 3 of 5 board members, so involved in the self-study or WASC visit. So we were at 60% there, so I had us not meeting that one. But we are meeting our compliance with policy, fiscal, and governance requirements. So we've had quorum to go over org goals, handbook, consolidated application, unaudited actuals, budgets, educator effectiveness grants, the facility purchase, even expulsions, to name a few. So I appreciate you being here in quorum so that we can get these important documents approved. And then finally, we have ensure attendance at school site council and ELAC DLAC. This is obviously not the board of directors, but we've had ELAC DLAC meetings, one in July, August, October, and January. And then we'll have one in 2 Saturdays for Q4. And then we've had monthly school site council meetings in August, September, October, November, January, February. We also had one in March. I need to update the date where we talked about what SABA is doing well and what we need to improve upon in different facets of our school. So when we've met the quorum and had attendance for each of those ELAC, DLAC, and school site council meetings. So overall, of the 6 metrics, we met 4 of them. So I'm proud of that. And I know we can meet all 6 next year if I just follow up with annual trainings for people who missed the board retreat. And also, well, I guess we won't have WASC accreditation next year since we gained our WASC approval.
Josh, should be useful on the attendance at school site and ELAC, et cetera, to include the number of parents that attend.
Okay, absolutely, I can do that when I have that information at my fingertips. So I appreciate that suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, the last item that I wanted to discuss was teacher retention and morale. So we heard from teachers at the March meeting about when I reviewed their presentation, it basically was in 3 different areas: teacher admin relations, teacher morale, and teacher retention. So in thinking about these 3 areas of concern, I wanted to come up with next steps. Next steps for teacher admin relations. 1, when we have our twice monthly teacher leadership meetings, those agendas will be collaboratively created. They've always been collaboratively created, and anyone can put anything on the agenda that they want. And then when we get to the start of the meeting, we vote on the order in which we will discuss the items. But I'm going to continue to emphasize that this is a collaborative process, and the agenda is not just mine, it's all of ours. And so we can all take ownership over that. I did this in Q2, where I held some lunches with staff, and I'm going to reinstitute those in Q4, where we just kind of meet on occasional Fridays during lunch to talk about how things are going and how we can continue to improve as a school. And I'll do that with both teachers and students. And then always a challenge, but we always want to have even additional clarity around disciplinary procedures. And we talked explicitly about bullying quite a bit during our professional development on Monday and Tuesday of this week. And then we actually had Restorative Justice Partners Incorporated from Monterey County come and provide an hour-long presentation. And we were working with them to set up some practices for restorative justice at SEBA. We're going to kind of get it started Q4 and then fully implement next school year. So I told the teachers that if they have reservations about this, that it's really important that they express those at the outset, so that that doesn't become a hindrance because we say one thing in public and maybe say another thing once we're not in the larger group. And they had a lot of critical questions about the processes, time and places where we're going to do this, the effectiveness of it. And the presenter was outstanding. She's a practitioner of it, and she could talk with specificity and give really concrete examples about how the practices she was promoting had really improved student outcomes. So I'm really excited to work with this group from Monterey County, and I think it's going to improve student engagement and hopefully discipline. In terms of teacher morale, we want to continue to celebrate staff. We have Monday meetings where we have staff C-stars, where we read out things that the staff has done that we're proud of, and they get a certificate for that. But we want to continue to do that. We pre-planned college trips for Q4. So each of our grade levels, grades 6 through 11, will be going out to local universities, CSUMB, St. Mary's, Moraga, Cal Poly, St. Louis Obispo. And we have all the itineraries all set up for them. So really it's just a matter of them showing up and completing the trip with their students. So hopefully that will be a fun experience and maybe improve the morale a little bit. And then finally, we'll focus on having an admin presence in teachers' classrooms with a clarity of purpose. So we have admin presence there in Q1, 2, and 3, where we do walkthroughs and observations that culminate in the evaluation in Q3 for all the teachers. And then Q4, we want to continue to push into classrooms and celebrate what's working well with our teachers and their lessons. And then
So
finally,
when you say admin presence in classrooms, what does that look like on a given day? Does that mean you're committing yourself to spending a particular amount of time each day in classrooms?
I was actually thinking about saying that I could get into 5 classrooms per week. And so that might work out in a different way. Like some maybe I could get into 3 on one day and then another day, maybe just 1. But I don't have a concrete number up here, but I could work on that and communicate that out to the teachers.
And when you say clarity of purpose, what does that mean?
So if we're going to be in the classroom, they need to know why we're there and what we're looking at when we're there.
So would you post that on a weekly basis or a monthly basis? Saying
Yeah.
this is going to be the focus of my classroom visits?
We started our PLCs for Q4 around English learners. We put up some statistics around how English learners receive office referrals and disciplinary incidents at a much higher rate than non-English learners. And then we talked about some supports we can provide. So I think we could say, okay, when we come in to see your class in Q4, we're going to be looking for English learner supports, integrated English language development or designated English language development, depending on the classroom, and looking at how we can succeed on those fronts.
Great.
And then finally, teacher retention. We have a mentor-mentee stipend for newer teachers to SABA that was approved at our previous board meeting. So that'll be great to build the camaraderie as well as provide support for newer teachers to SABA. Teachers who are in years 1, 2, or 3 at SABA are eligible for that mentee stipend. And then teachers who have greater than 3 years experience are eligible to be the mentor. We have increased compensation for the upcoming school year. We did the 5+% pay increases as well as stipends for teachers. And then bell schedule and length of day was adjusted to meet a lot of the needs that the teachers expressed while still complying with our state requirements.
All righty.
So that's our next step. Our next teacher leadership meeting is this Tuesday, and we've had a few of these, and we really want to move our teacher leadership meeting more to a kind of a PLC model. We're really digging into how we can best, improve upon whatever the particular topic is that we're going to discuss for that day. PLC stands for Professional Learning Community. And that concludes my head of school report.
Has there been any staff development in forming PLCs and maintaining them?
Yeah, we did them throughout Q3, and we've always had grade level and department meetings. And I think it's just kind of gaining clarity around what does a really effective PLC. It's one thing to kind of go through the procedures without maybe gaining the benefit. And so we really want to try and get at what's going to really lead to concrete outcomes for teachers and for students. And so we continue to kind of revise our practices around protocols for how we discuss student work, making sure that we always bring student work to these PLCs, and then making sure that we come with an agenda and we're focused on the agenda items that are on the agendized for that particular day.
Great. Any questions for Josh on the head of school report? Well, thank you for that, Josh. Let's move on to the LCAP supplement.
So the LCAP supplement is required by schools as part of the 21-22 LCAP to kind of check in on how SABA is doing. There were some funds that were distributed for this school year that was allocated after the LCAP was approved. And so this was a check-in to make sure that we had stakeholder discussions around how we're going to use various funds. So for example, the first one, SABA received $87,000 in K-6 expanded learning opportunity grant funds for this school year. And we decided that we will expend those during the next school year, which is in line with what the rules are for those particular funds. It was kind of ironic that we get K-6 funds, but since we have a 6th grade, we were eligible for those. SABA also received $171,000 in additional grant add-on funding for use during this school year. And we explored how to use those funds at our ELAC meetings, school site council meetings, and through guidance from DMS, our back office service provider. And those funds were used for payroll for teachers who are providing direct services to low-income EL or foster youth students on campus, as well as for designated English learner staff, professional development. So without getting into too much detail, the supplemental LCAP goes over how SABA is utilizing the funds that they received and making sure that we have teacher, admin, staff, parent input on these funds and how they're used. And it's always a little bit of a struggle because you can get too technical really fast when we start to talk about lots of acronyms and the particular fund categories. So what I talked to the county office about this supplemental LCAP as well as preparing for our 22-23 LCAP. And they gave me a great suggestion, was just to talk about the items in general. So talk about English learners, what's working, what's not working, what's working with communication. And that kind of makes it a little bit more broad, and then parents can really start to have a more open communication. And so I came with a slide deck set up like that for our March school site council meeting. And it was probably one of our better, if not our best school site council meeting that we had this year, because a lot of times I'll end up talking the whole time at those meetings, and I spoke for probably 10 to 15% of the meeting. And a lot of the parents were opining on, hey, this is working really well this year. Hey, we need to improve this. Oh, this is unusual. Why do we do this? And so we were able to capture those in the notes on the slide deck and then take those back for use in our upcoming 22-23 LCAP.
Great. Any questions for Josh on the LCAP supplement? Hearing none, let's move on to the bell schedule.
Okay, so our high school, middle school bell schedule are here. This is in the report section. The board of directors does not have to quote approve our bell schedule, but I just wanted to give you an update on where we're at. High school will have homeroom for 20 minutes every Monday, followed by 4 83-minute blocks with a 60-minute staff PD at the end of the day from 3:30 to 4:30. So this is a little bit different from our previous year's schedules because we are no longer going to have an early release day. So all of our days will have the same dismissal time. We took this through surveys to families, teachers, staff to make sure we had broad-based buy-in for it, and there was a consistency around that. Parents were really excited to have their kids here for a longer amount of time on Monday, so they were on board with that, and then teachers were excited to have just a consistent day daily. And also by doing that longer day on Monday, it allows us to push up our dismissal time for the rest of the week. So now the dismissal time, or if you're not going to fast 40, is now 3:15. So both for our middle school and our high school, our day will run from 8:30 in the morning, which is mandated for all high schools next year by the state of California. And our day will end at 3:15, and then we'll have fast 40 from 3:20 to 4.
It's good to hear everybody's happy with that.
Yeah, it's rare when we land on something that there's almost 100% buy-in, but in this case, the bell schedule really worked out in favor of everybody.
Very good. Any other questions on the bell schedule for Josh? Then that will conclude the report section, and we're about ready to close the meeting unless somebody has an item they would like to see on the next agenda.
I don't know if anybody has anything in particular, but I do have for next board meeting that we will be presenting the Form 990 as it relates to our taxes and our audit. That'll be a document presented from our auditor. We need to turn it in by the 15th, so bringing it to next month's board meeting should keep us well in that deadline.
Great. All righty. Well, if you do think of something for the next agenda, let myself or Josh know, and we'll get it on there. Thank you all for showing up on this. Always difficult when we change our standard meeting time. So really appreciate everybody make it so that we could have a quorum. So we will see each other next time.
And I will be joining the next meeting from Spain.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Tanya.
I'm leaving on Sunday. So I think our meetings are going to be at 2:30 a.m.
Wow.
I'll figure it out.
Thank you for your dedication.
That'll be shortly after dinner, right, Larry?
Yeah, no, dinner's usually around 10. Yeah. Jeez. And Josh, if you could do me a favor and tell me exactly what, if you know at this point, what the schedule of events is for the start of school next year.
Absolutely, I can do that. I'll get an email out to all the board about that. We're probably I would say within the next 2 weeks. We're finalizing all that right now.
Okay, cool. Because I need to do some long range planning on when I'm going back.
Understood.
Okay.
All right. I know that's been a long time coming, so I'm happy for you.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
man.
great. Have a wonderful trip.
All right. I'll talk to you guys from Spain next month.
Yeah.